What is an extra rule your family added to a popular board or card game? My father-in-law keeps note of who has wronged him with a series of annotations beside the score when we play cards. I really like running Monopoly with 2d20s instead of the default 6. Makes it a lot more chaotic. In Monopoly we have a rule that my sister can't be the banker, otherwise it's like watching Ocean's 11. Literally anything goes in Monopoly. Whatever business deals you make in Monopoly are valid, e.g. paying some insurance each round so that if you land on their rent properties you are immune. When I was a kid, the small group of friends I had all played crazy, days-long games of Monopoly through summer and especially winter breaks. As far as anything goes, we took it even away from the game. Like Sell Me Street, Charles Place for $2.500 and you don't have to ever pay for landing on it. And also I'll wash the dishes and take out the trash for you tonight. Or give me immunity on your yellow Monopoly and I won't attack your army with any land units in our next StarCraft game. Buildings only. Or even, we each have 2 railroads. Let's form a cartel. Give me your 2. And we'll split all rail income 50/50. To keep me honest, I'll give you control of my purple Monopoly. You'll hold those deeds, but I still get 100% of the profits. If I ever don't share the rail profits, you keep the purples. If you ever don't give me the purple profits, I keep your 2 rails. This bargaining extended to times we were totally away from the game too. Like, oh there's only 1 pizza bagel left. I'll give you $500 of Monopoly cash for it. In Scrabble, the person who can make the longest word goes first. Highest points breaks a tie. This makes the game more fun by ensuring there are lots of places to play your letters. Taboo. You can play 3-player, cutthroat, taboo. The rules don't really change, but the scoring does. There's a ref watching for taboo words. Guesser can't see the card and talker can see the card. The guesser and talker will get 1 point each for each successful guessed word. Taboo words are scored 1 point to the reference. At the end of the round, rules rotate like normal, clockwise. After everyone has 2 turns talking, rotate the other way, counterclockwise. This lets everyone get a turn guessing and talking with each person. I prefer this way because you don't get stuck on a winning or losing team. Everyone plays with everyone, and there's never a 4th person out. My grandmother was deaf/mute, so when we played Uno, instead of saying Uno we knocked on the table quickly twice. Late to the party here, but in Monopoly we allow the utilities to collect 5% of any player-to-player transaction over $200. It helps keep the utilities relevant and desirable. We had a variation on Risk, where everyone write down their moves and attacks and all the moves and attacks were carried out simultaneously. First the troops were relocated, only able to move in country. Then attacks rolled. Once again, you could only attack a neighboring country, and if you won, you could occupy it, but you could not keep pressing the attack until the next turn. If 2 or more countries were attacking each other, they all rolled the maximum number of dice. Ties were then rerolled. Edit. Apparently we copied a game called Diplomacy without knowing. I will check it out. Thanks for the comments who brought this to my attention. In every coup game, pandemic, castle panic, whatever, there is usually someone who tries to tell everyone what to do. I can accidentally be this person. So, I implemented the right-hand man rule. If the person whose turn it is wants advice, if they can only get it from the person on their right, nobody else can say anything. Makes things way more enjoyable. Trouble is a fun little game. Unfortunately, with the wife and son, we only have 3 players. 4 players makes it even more fun. So we have a 4th player we call Bob. Bob gets the last turn in the cycle. Someone rolls for Bob, and then the 3 of us agree on what Bob's best move is. It's especially fun when you have to agree that Bob's best move is to take out one of your own pieces. Edit. Thanks for all the upvotes and awards and stuff, but I wanted to sort of comment on the meter of what I see in my responses. The first comment I had that really took off and got a huge number of upvotes was 7 years ago, and it broke the 3,000 upvote mark. That felt like a huge thing. This comment isn't the first to surpass it. But the scale really reflects the growth of Reddit as a community far more than it does any insightfulness on my part. You go Reddit. Secondly, I'm amused by how many people learn to play Cards Against Humanity from a friend, complete with a totally approved alternate rule, but have not actually read the rules. That's okay. Neither have I. We used multiple risk boards so that you could rule a couple of planets and nuclear bombs. I love democracy. In the game of life we would put the white car on top of the middle building of the 3 white buildings together. The first person who got there got to take the white car, and it was worth $1,000,000 at the end of the game. Rule for my kids with all board games. Winner cleans up. Loser or lowest score picks next game. Tantrum/rage quitting gets you banned from the next game session altogether. One rule used for many board games: if someone takes too long with his/her move, anyone can fetch the 3 minimum hourglass from the shelf and set it on the table. Once the time runs out, the move is over, regardless of. Another rule for Scrabble: any word is valid if you can find it in any book in a library within 3 minutes. The mugging rule in Monopoly: if I land on a space that you are currently occupying, I can choose to mug you. We take turns rolling the dice. If I roll higher, I steal $100. If you roll higher, I go to jail. Edit. Yes, it can help in endgame. Also, I feel like a lot of you are overestimating how often you land on another player's piece, and even then you still have to roll lower. It's almost as if this game is not very realistic. Don't know if this counts as popular, but Waddington's Go, a game of traveling around the world. Rule in the actual game was you had to roll exact to get into a place, but it ended up with too many dice rolls doing absolutely nothing. One player ended up just stuck in one place for literally half an hour, before then getting somewhere else, and then being stuck for another half an hour. They did virtually nothing all game. Really? That rule means the game should be called Waddington Stop. To combat this, we came up with a house rule that you have a 3 strikes ending. If you fail to get the right number 3 times, you automatically get to your destination. To stop the game being dull, we haven't actually tried this yet because since playing it, when at the end of the game we came up with the rule, we've had a pandemic that has prevented me from going back to visit my parents who have the game. In Trivial Pursuit, we have a rule: if the player being asked doesn't know the answer, they can ask the room. The room doesn't actually answer, but they say whether they know the answer or not. If nobody knows the answer, it's considered an invalid question, and another card gets drawn instead. If someone in the room does know, but the player being asked doesn't, then it's just a plain old pass. My dad knows a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot. When he was a kid he read the Encyclopedia Britannica for fun. Basically, the rule was born from, if even dad doesn't know the answer, then nobody does, and it's a terrible question. Apostrophe. In Clue, once the killer has been discovered, and it's one of the pieces in play, the game becomes a chase. The remaining player turns are rolls to get out of the mansion through the doors in the hall. The killer tries to catch the remaining pieces and kill them. Secret passages only work if you roll even numbers in that room. The killer rolls twice per turn and cannot use secret passages. Edit. If the killer wasn't one of the played pieces, then the game is over. They couldn't defend themselves and surrendered after being discovered. The killer kills other players while landing on the same space as them between rooms, or by rolling a higher number than them in the same room. If there are 2 players in a room with the killer must announce who they are going after. After one attack, killer's turn is over. Players must escape by leaving the hall through the doors. Entering the hall is one move, leaving the hall is another. You should try to have at least one more move upon entering the hall to get out safely. If rolling a 3 would get you into the hall, a 4+ would get you out. If no players make it out alive, the killer wins. Stacks the bodies in the cellar, locks it, and pretends that none of this has ever happened. Extra fun at the start of the game. Before dealing to players, place an evidence card face down in each room. When you enter the room, you can look at the card and place it back face down. You're sleuthing. After all, if all players have seen the card, You may turn it face up. Edit. It was the stranger. In the thread. With the silver. Thank you. At the end of Scrabble you make up a story with all the words on the board. We never looked at the tiles for scores. We just played to get the best words on the board. Nukes in Risk. If you roll 3 6s when attacking you defeat every army on the territory you're attacking into. If you roll 3 1s, you nuke yourself and lose every army in the territory you're attacking from. If you say sorry while playing Uno, you pick up 2 cards. Slap that +4 down with authority. Also, if you have exactly the same card as the one that has just been played, you can jump in and play your duplicate regardless of if it's your turn or not. We have a deck of Monty Python playing cards, which includes, in addition to the normal 52, the 4 1/2 of spades and the 15 of hearts. Rather than just using them as jokers, we add them to every game we play. Dad can't be the banker in Monopoly anymore. He just can't. In Uno we draw cards until we can throw one down. No limits. We have had to buy a second deck because of this. We also possibly lost friendships over it too. My brother made up a rule that applies to all games. If he isn't going to win, F you all. Such fun growing up. Are any of your families looking to adopt a 38-year-old? My family didn't play board games growing up, and my kids are too young or unable to play. Guess I have to wait longer. Risk. Each player has to choose their military theme music to play on their move, e.g. German military marches, Red Army chorus, ominous movie music, etc. All moves must end with the attacker saying these concludes my territorial demands, as if you were a warlord facing a cowering princeling. In Carcassonne, I always play where everyone draws a tile at the end of their turn, so they have everyone else's turns to consider what to do with it. One fun rule to occasionally play with is starting with 3 tiles and drawing when you place one. Every time Dad farted everybody else got $100. Monopoly. Small compensation for the nasal assault. Love Dad but Jesus he smells like something crawled up his ass and died.